Greetings everyone, Ari here. Welcome back to another Game of Thrones episode review. So today we're going to be taking a look at the 5th episode of Season 2, The Ghost of Harrenhal. So, here we go. Beginning in the Stormlands. As Renly and Catelyn negotiate an alliance, Melisandre's shadow creature kills Renly and disappears. Brienne, mistaken for the murderer, is forced to slay Renly's guards and escapes with Catelyn. Brienne swears allegiance to Catelyn, but promises not to interfere with Brienne's vengeance against Stannis. Loras also blames Stannis, but Littlefinger and Margaery convince him to escape. Stannis arrives, and his stepbrother's bannermen swear fealty to him. Ignoring Davos' advice not to bring Melisandre on his assault on King's Landing, Stannis gives reluctant Davos command of the fleet. Anyway, in King's Landing, Tyrion learns from Lancel that Cersei is stockpiling dangerous flammable wildfire and visits the royal pyromancer, Wisdom Helene, who reveals a massive cache of wildfire Joffrey intends to catapult onto Stannis' forces. Bronn doubts the plan, but Tyrion claims the cache for himself. Clever. Anyway, at Lordsport, Theon, made captain of a ship, is disrespected by the crew. First mate Dagmar Cleftjaw suggests Theon win their respect with an impressive deed. But Dagmar proposes assaulting the northern town of Torrance Square. Theon realizes Dagmar intends to leave Winterfell poorly defended for his takeover. Anyway, at Winterfell, receiving news that Torrance Square is under attack, Bran urges Sir Roderick to raise defenders. He tells Osha of his dreams featuring a three-eyed raven, but she deflects his inquiries. I wonder why. Anyway, at the Fist of the First Men, the Night's Watch meet legendary ranger Qhorin Halfhand at the Fist of the First Men, an ancient fortification. Qhorin warns that the wildlings have become more organized and dangerous under former ranger Mance Rayder. Jon volunteers to join Qhorin in eliminating a wildling watch post. I wonder how well that's gonna go down. Anyway, in Qarth, Daenerys holds court at Qarth as her dragons grow. At the party of Xaro Xhoan Daxos, the warlike Pyat Pri invites Daenerys to visit the House of the Undying, while the masked Quaithe warns Ser Jorah of dangers facing Daenerys. Xaro asks to marry Daenerys in exchange for resources to take King's Landing. Jorah argues that Daenerys must win the Iron Throne on her own, and she eventually agrees. And finally, at Harrenhal, Tywin deduces Arya is a Northerner, but remains unaware of her identity. Jaqen H'ghar, disguised as a Lannister guardsman, offers Arya 3 lives. She designates the Tickler, Harrenhal's cruel interrogator, as her first victim. He is found dead, and Jaqen signals that Arya's first debt has been paid. Yes, the first of, well, only 2. So, yeah. Anyway, so let's look at the production of this episode, beginning with the writing. The Ghost of Harrenhal is the 5th episode of the 2nd season written by the 2 showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, and the 15th in the whole series. The script is based on chapters Daenerys 2, Arya 7, Catelyn 4, Jon 4, Bran 5, Catelyn 5, and Jon 5, 28, 31, 34, 35, 36, 40, and 44, from George R.R. Martin's The Clash of Kings. Tyrion scenes with the Pyromancers and Cersei are taken from the chapters Tyrion 5 and Tyrion 8, 21 and 37. There are numerous divergences from the source material. In the books, Lord Baelish is sent by the Council to negotiate with Tyrells only after Renly is dead. Theon's departure from Pike is not shown, and Dagmar Cleftjaw is a scarred old master-at-arms who is fond of Theon because Cleftjaw trained him when Theon was a boy. Arya is a scullion instead of a cupbearer, and is not able to interact with Lord Tywin. And the character of Xaro Xhoan Daxos has been drastically changed, making him a black heterosexual of humble origins and giving him a vault that is never mentioned in the books. Anyway, let's move on to the casting now. The episode introduces the character of pyromancer Wisdom Helene, played by the British actor Royce Dotrice. Dotrice is a personal friend of George R.R. Martin, since the two met while working on the 1980s hit TV series Beauty and the Beast. Martin as a producer, and Dotrice playing father. Years later, Dotrice urged Martin's choice to read the audiobooks of A Song of Ice and Fire, a work that brought Dotrice a Guinness World Record for the largest number of characters voiced in an audiobook. Nice. After the series was greenlighted, Martin wanted to involve Dotrice, suggesting Maester Aemon, Roger Castle, or Grand Maester Pycelle as possible roles. He was eventually cast as Pycelle, but had to withdraw from the show for medical reasons, and Julian Glover was cast to replace him. In the second season, when his health recovered, he was given the role of Helene. Good. Other characters introduced in this episode are the Night's Watch Ranger Corin Halfhand, played by Simon Armstrong, and the mysterious Quaithe, played by the German actress Laura Pradelska. This is also the first episode in which Pyat Pree, briefly seen standing in episode 4, has any lines. Wow. And finally, the filming locations. The episode's interior shots were filmed at the Penthall Studios, close to Belfast, where the main sets are located. Also in Northern Ireland were filmed the scenes at Harrenhal, and a set built near Banbridge, and Pike, at the port of Ballantoy. Renly's camp was once again filmed on the country's northern coast. After having filmed the Night's Watch storyline Beyond the Wall in Irish Forest for the first 4 episodes of the season, the producers decided that the unexplored land further to the north would be filmed in Iceland. According to the creator George R. R. Martin's vision of the setting, quote, "The area closest to my wall is densely forested, and then as you get further and further north, it changes. You get into tundra and ice fields, and it becomes more of an Arctic environment. You have plains on one side and a very high range of mountains on the other." Co-producer Chris Newman said that until then they have been able to reproduce the lands north of the wall by adding artificial snow, but now they needed a bigger landscape. According to David Benioff, they've always, quote, "wanted something shatteringly beautiful and barren and brutal for this part of John's journey, because he's in the true north now." To represent the Frostfangs and the Fist of the First Men, the production filmed at the glacier at, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, at Senfils Jokul, and also at the glacier at Svinfils Jokul in Schmalabjorg, and the hills of Kukoyel. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, near Vic. The other main location introduced in this episode was the Gardens of Corth, which were filmed at the Benedictine monastery of the Croatian island of Lokrum. The abandoned monastery was built in Gothic Renaissance style in the 15th century. The island of Lokrum is only 680 meters offshore from Dubrovnik, the location used for King Landing's exteriors. It can be reached by boat in 15 minutes. Coincidentally, Lokrum shares with its fictional counterpart of Carth, having peacocks among its distinctive features. Lokrum is inhabited by families of peacocks that were introduced to the island in the 19th century by the Austrian Archduke Maximilian. That's actually kind of interesting. So this is actually a pretty darn good episode, and definitely sets a lot of things in motion that we'll see in later episodes. So overall, I give The Ghost of Harrenhal 4 Iron Thrones out of 5. Well, till next week as we take a look at the old gods and the new. So, until then, remember everyone, winter is coming.